Hello, everyone. This is a video for percents, ratios, and proportions, lessons 7 through 10. So let's take a look at those. You should be in your percents, ratios, and proportions packet, the PRP packet. Flip the page until you get to a page that looks like this. If you don't have it with you, hit pause, go find that. What we're looking at today is percent problems, kind of the basics of percent problems. First thing we're going to look at, we're going to kind of do some notes over here again. We're going to look at what items are in a percent problem. Okay, so these will help you figure out how to do them. So if I just have a sentence that says 50% of 20 is 10. Okay, there's 3 items to a percent problem. Okay, the one that has a percent sign on it is the percent. Okay, so that should be easy enough to find. If the one that, what we would call some books call it the base, or what you would think of out of whatever it is called the whole. And the key here is it's almost always after the word of. Okay, and then the other one, which is often after the word is called the part. Okay, and it's not always worded quite this way. We'll look at some examples here in a second. But the percent sign has the percent has a percent sign on it. After the word of is your whole, and then the other item is what's called the part. Okay, you can also think of that like a test score. If you had 90% of 50 is 45, that meant the whole test was 50 problems. The part you got was 45, which equaled 90%. Okay, so these are the items in a problem. Okay, 2 ways we're going to look at solving it. One is called percent equation and its forms. Okay, so the most common percent equation is your part will equal the percent as a decimal, which we'll look at, remind you how to do that. Okay, times the whole. Okay, so that's one version of the percent equation. That's the main version. If you're here, the percent equation, that's the main version. But using that, we can set up other ones. So if we've got to find a part, we'll use that. If we have to find a whole, then what we can do is we can take the part and divide it by the percent as a decimal. And then the last one for these is if we need to find a percent, we can find it as the decimal version will be equal to the part divided by the whole. which would kind of be like how you would get a test score. Okay. Now I'll explain these as we do some problems here in a second. So that will be one method you can use. I will show you another method here, and then when I do examples, I'll show both, and you can decide which one you want to do. So again, if I go too fast on this, you're watching a video, hit pause, copy it down. And the last version we call the percent form. Oops, let me erase that. I'll erase all this. And we'll call the percent formula, which should look familiar to some of you, but we'll go over it again. Okay, what this is basically doing is setting up a proportion that you can cross multiply and divide and solve for. So the part over the whole will equal the percent over 100. Okay, and that 100 is always there. So these are the two methods you can use to solve these problems. We'll look at like 2 problems for each one of the objectives. Okay, so you can either use this, the percent equation, or a form of it, or the percent formula. And I'll show you both methods on these. Okay, so let's go through, and we'll do about 8 problems here. When we look at these problems, the first thing I'm going to do is look, what are we looking for? What are we trying to find? Okay, so here it's pretty easy. It asks right in the question, what percent? So we are looking for a percent. Okay, so there's 2 methods we can do. If I'm looking for a percent, we can do this. So the percent as a decimal equals part over whole. Okay, so if I take part over whole, okay, which would be, now when I look at these 2 numbers, I got to figure out which one is whole, which one is part. Here's the word of. Okay, that means this is the whole. And then this is the part. So if we do a part over whole, the part is 318. The whole is 5,300. So now this is where you take your calculator. You take 318 divided by 5300, and that's going to equal 0.06. Now you need to remember, it's the part over whole equals the percent as a decimal. So we need to convert this to a percent right now. Remember, you go 1, 2. Now the decimal's here, so this would be 6%. Letter B. Okay. Now the other way to do it, if you want to use the percent formula, and you can decide this as you go. Okay. So I'm going to put kind of a line here. Okay. Now you fill in. So if we're looking, I'm using this down here. Part over whole equals percent over 100. So part over whole, that part's going to look the same as over here. 318 is the part. After the word of is 5,300. So that goes there. This is what we're missing, the percent. Okay. So now how to solve this, you cross multiply and divide. So you take the diagonal with 2 numbers, you multiply. Okay. And you divide by the other numbers. So we would take, we multiply 318 times 100. And we divide it by 3,000 or 5,300, and you get 6. Now, there's no converting to decimals. Whatever ends up here, which would be the 6, is your percent. Okay, so you get the same answer either way. Okay, and we'll do another example of that one in a second. Let's go through, could do a few problems on this page and then a couple on another page. Okay, next one. It says, what is 264% of 908? So this has a percent sign. So we know that's the percent. This is after the word of. So that is our whole. So we are missing the part. Okay, so we can use this, or again, the nice thing about the percent formula, we can use the same setup every time. I'll show you that in a second. So first, we're going to look at the percent equation. So to do this, we got to do the percent as a decimal. Okay, so the percent as a decimal. Now this is the tricky part. We got to make it smaller by 2 spots. So 1, 2. So now, you might not even think of that as a decimal, but 264% is a big percent. So it's represented by 2.64 times the whole. Okay, so we're going to take 2.64 times 908, and you're going to get 2,397.12. Okay, which is right here. Now, it's what's kind of weird is the part ends up being bigger than the whole in this problem. But what you got to think about is it's 264%. That's like a lot of extra credit if you want to think of it that way. When you get extra credit on a test, you can end up with more than the questions. You know, you could get 25 out of 20 on a test. That would mean extra credit. That means your percent would be more than 100. Okay, the other way of doing this one, again, erase that. If you use the nice thing about the percent formula, it's not always quicker, but it's always the same setup. You'd have these two fractions. You put the 100 here. Okay, you know we're looking for the part. That's the top number. So remember down here, part over whole equals percent over 100. So we're missing that top part. So you could draw like a little X or a question mark there. The whole is 908. 908. And the percent, now you don't convert this, you just write it as is, 264. Okay, so cross multiply and divide. Take the diagonal with two numbers. We're going to multiply that. So 908 times 264. It's going to be a big number. It's going to be 239,712. We're going to divide that by the other number, which in this case is 100, and we still get that same answer. Okay. All right. Then let's look at another one. 94 is 50% of what number? So the easy one to find right here has a percent sign. That's our percent. The other number, it says 94 is. It's somewhat connected with the word is. If that doesn't tell you enough that that's for sure the part, well, after the word of says what? So after the word of is our whole, so that's what we're looking for. So that means this has to be the part. Okay, so if we're looking for the whole, that's right here. Okay, the whole means we're going to take the part divided by the percent as a decimal. So we're looking for the whole. So we need to take, I won't recopy it because it's right here. So we need the part, which is 94, divided by, and this is key, percent as a decimal. So here we'd have to go 1, 2, 0.5 or 0.50, whatever you want to write. And then we take 94 divided by 0.5, and we get 188. Okay, should be right here. Again, percent formula. If you like this method, you always start out with this right here. Okay, the part is 94. The percent is 50. We're looking for the whole. Take the diagonal with two numbers, we multiply. So we get 9,400. Divide by the other number, and we get 188. Okay. All right. So we're going to go a couple more on this page. So 40, look here, it says what is 15% of 731? So 15 is the percent because it's got a percent sign. The word of, after the word of is the whole. Okay, so that means we are looking for the part. So this would be similar to number 38. Okay, the difference was 38 was a number bigger than 100%. This one's going to have a number smaller than 100%. Okay, so if we're doing this one, we're looking for the part. So again, we can use this. So percent is a decimal. We got to move 1, 2, so 0.15. Oh, sorry, let me erase that. So again, and if you want to write this out first over here, that you can do that, but we're looking for the part. It's going to equal the percent as a decimal, so 0.15 times the whole, which is 731. So take your calculator, 0.15 times 731, and that's going to give you 109.65, which is right here. Okay, percent formula. Start with this every time. Percent is 15. Again, you don't change that to a decimal there like you do with the percent equation. Whole, again, is the bottom. Okay, that's 731 because it comes after the word of. And we're looking for the part. So take the diagonal, two numbers, you multiply 731 times 15. Gives you 10,965. Divide by the other number, which in this case is 100. And you get 109.65 there also. Okay. Two more problems left. Okay. 41. Right away it says what percent. So right away you should know I'm looking for a percent. Then after the word of, that's your whole, leaving the other number as a part. Okay, so we're looking for percent. So we could use this right here. It says percent as a decimal equals part divided by whole. This is kind of like your test score one. Okay, so make sure again you do it the right order. The part goes on top. The whole is on the bottom, and it's not always smallest on top, biggest on bottom, because if the percent's over 100, it could be the other way around. But after the word of is the whole. Okay, the other number is the part. So you take 1476 divided by 6150, and you get 0.24. Now remember, that here equals a percent as a decimal. So when you use this one, now you got to go 1, 2, and it's actually 24%. Okay. So the other method, again, same setup every time, just where you put the numbers is different. Set that up. We don't know the percent. The part is the 1476. The whole is a 6150. take the diagonal with two numbers, you multiply. So you get 147,600. Divide that by 6,150, and you'll get 24, which is just the straight percent. Okay, one more problem to do. Okay, again, these ones can be the tricky ones sometimes because of what you're looking for. 40%, that should be easy to identify. That's the percent. 16, it's connected somewhat to the word is, so it could be the part, but let's double check. After the word of says what? So after the word of, there's no number, so that's what we're looking for. There's no number after the word of, so we're looking for the whole, which means this is then the part. So we're going to use this right here. Whole equals part divided by percent as a decimal. Okay, so the whole, you can see it on your paper, equals the part, which is 16, divided by percent as a decimal. So we move this over 1, 2 is 0.4 or 0.40. So we take 16 divided by 0.4, and you get 40, which is letter D. Formula version, set this up same way every time. Okay, the percent is 40, so that goes here. After the word of is the whole. That's what we don't know, so there's a question mark down here. And 16 is the part. So take the diagonal with two numbers. 16 times 100 is 1,600. Divide by the other number. Okay. And that equals, whoops, not 40%, just 40, because we're looking for the whole. Okay, so don't get confused that both the answer and the percent are 40. Okay. Or sorry, the answer and the percent. So that's the whole is 40 and the percent is 40. Okay, that's all the problems we need to do. One thing I just want to make sure is sometimes they word them different, so we don't need to do this, but like this one is the same type of problem as the one we just did, 42. It's just worded different. Because if you still look, after the word of is what? So we're still looking for a whole here. We don't need to do the problem, but this would be the part, this would be the percent. Okay, so there's plenty of other problems here you can try to make sure that you're doing these right. Again, the answers are back here. Okay, you might have to flip your screen or your paper. You can check those. Remember, they're not in order, so 40 is up here, 41's way down here, and so on. So you have to find them and check them. So you got a day to copy these notes and to practice other problems. And then ask any questions, and I'll send out the test the next day. If you have any questions, let me know.